So I recently did an IG stories where I asked my followers and my audience and my tribe what videos they wanted to see, and the thing I got the most was showing how I manage it all. Being that I have 3 kids, being that I'm married, being that I have to take care of the house as well as run a business and homeschool 2 different ages. And so I just wanted to share that in this video I will not be sharing expert tips, but I will share that what works for me and some things that I'll be implementing soon, because it's no easy thing to manage all of what I manage, but anything worth having is worth fighting for. So I do my best to balance it all. I'm still trying to find balance. I really am. Being that, like, I told myself I was going to take a few months off to just prioritize getting rest. Getting my rest, just postpartum journey, just healing. Because, if you don't take your time to prioritize that, then you can easily slip into depression. You can easily slip into having anxiety issues and things like that, especially if you're not eating properly. So in the beginning, I just prioritized getting my rest, like getting my sleep, 8-9 hours a night, every single night. And that means that I wasn't able to wake up early in the morning like I usually do. I wasn't getting up at 5 or 6 to make sure things were done here. It wasn't a struggle, but I had to start my day a little later, but I did have a peace of mind. So yeah, in this video I'm just going to share a few of my tips and how I do things now, being that my baby is 6 months and we're getting more to a routine. So first thing first, I'm not a planner, but I'm becoming a planner, right? So here's one of the tools that I use to help me with managing it all. So I have this planner called the Top 3 Planner by Earn on Demand. It was like $40, but it's worth it. It's a daily planner, and basically what you do is write out your top 3 priorities for the day, and then you have some tasks you can check off as well as some notes. And so I use this daily. Sometimes I skip it because, again, I'm not a planner type girl, but when I do, write in the planner daily, it helps me with things that I need to get checked off instead of me having everything running in my head, right? And this has helped me, as well as some cute pens, and I showed that in my unboxing video. So some cute pens in the planner, right? Whether you plan weekly, monthly, daily, like I can't get to the point where I'm planning out a whole week worth of things, because I don't know, it seems so far-fetched. Though the daily planner works for me. The next thing I'm going to say is prepping the night before. So this could mean prepping outfits for the next day. This could mean prepping food for the next day. This could mean prepping homeschool lessons for the next day. It doesn't mean you have to do everything, but just give yourself a feel of what needs to be done the next day. And whether you gather the material or you put everything in one spot, it still make it easier as opposed to starting from scratch. Say for instance, I get up tomorrow and I'm like, okay, I don't know what we have to eat. Like, I have to thaw meat out, I need to cut up this, I need to cut up that. This is gonna be a long day. So those are some things that I've been working on, right? Not every day, I don't get it right. Trust me, I don't get it right, but I give myself a mental note so I can know what I should wake up and do. And it don't always work, but it works. Okay, so the next thing is rising early. Now this one I'm still working on because I co-sleep with my baby, but when I was able to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I was able to get a lot of things done and prep, in advance. But being that I co-sleep and my baby is typically under me, sometimes when I move, he's up and I'm not able to get anything done because I'm, tending to him as soon as I open my eyes. So something I've been working on recently is kind of just, I know, not to bed, hopping up early and, getting myself together for the day, making sure everything is prepped before the kids wake up, because when they get up, they typically want food and they need something to do, right? Getting up early, I do have an alarm set on my phone to wake me up, but I recognize that if you kind of leave your blinds open just a tad bit and you're able to welcome the sun in, then that'll naturally wake you up. But if not, if you go to bed super late like I have been doing recently, then an alarm will help you. Also, my girls have an alarm on their little clock. It is super loud. It goes off at 7:30, so that means I have to get up before them. In terms of like homeschool lessons, the girls, Eliana is 5, Kazaya is 3, And basically, the way that I taught Eliana in the beginning, I was going based off her interests, but I also had some educational posters. So, with the educational posters, of course, you're talking about letters, numbers, colors, shapes, like the map, the USA map, and also the continent. So that was my base of like, showing things visually and in no specific order, wanting her to learn certain things, but just going with the flow. Also the days of the week. So yeah, cause I get 3, so that means that we're kind of going in the same direction. But although she's caught on to like learning to read way faster than Eliana, I've kind of been stagnant on like what to do with her. But I realized that I could just continue to practice more complex words, because CVC words are mastered. We're just working on her being able to read those fluently in a book. And I asked this reading coach, like what's the next step for her, and it was basically telling me to do CCVC words, or blends at the beginning or at the end of the words, like nest or crip, uh, just random words, y'all. But to practice those words as well. In terms of what she's taking in, like anything that her sister knows, she basically knows too. From listening, she's passively learning whatever her sister is learning. So it's not a big thing for me to it's not a big challenge, I would say, to kind of teach her new things, because she automatically just takes it in when I'm teaching her sister. But the biggest thing is just keeping her active, right? So she still wants to, play and Play-Doh, color, cut, paste, and those are the things that a 3-year-old needs to be doing. But sometimes things are not readily available, which is something that I recently, put out a homeschool cart, and I also have different toys and stations that they have where they can play with different things without me having to get it out for them. So we did do toy rotations, but I started to put things up in our closet because they would take multiple things out at a time. And so we are working on just cleaning up our mess once we make them, right? And I know that sounds like a small thing, but it's not. So that's something we're working on, and I'm gonna say that I've done a better job at that beforehand. But of course, children are learning, and they're doing a great job at cleaning up behind themselves. In terms of Eliana, as far as homeschool, like I'm really following her pace, and I just manage, or I structure all of our homeschool lessons around her level. Right. So, say for instance, yesterday we talked about odd and even numbers, and I can ask Kazaya now, what is a noun? And she probably would tell me a person, place, or thing. Now, I'm not working with her on that, but she's taking it in, she's listening. So, when it's her time, she can catch on to it like that. Now, in terms of managing the household, I would say that this is something that I am still working on. Like, I would like to have things, super clean, super organized all the time. But the reality is of homeschooling kids and just having them play without being in the screen all the time is that things get messy, right? And so my husband does not like to come home to a messy house. No matter how much fun the kids are playing, no matter how much fun they're having while they're playing, sometimes walk on from work, it just doesn't sit well for you to come in and you see the kids have things everywhere. So I am still trying to figure out like how to enclose the things that they're playing with. But usually I get a warning like, okay, I'm headed home from work. And that way I could be like, okay, I know that they're having fun, so maybe we need to wrap this activity up so we can straighten up to make sure everything is presentable once he comes home. And just in general though, like all of the rooms of course are not messed up. I make sure I keep the main rooms in check, but sometimes when you're doing crafts, when you're doing hands-on activities, things get out of place. And with 2 babies that want to do their own thing, sometimes it gets, I don't know, a little chaotic. But I'm the messy mom. Like, I don't mind my children making messes when they're playing because it means that they are learning. But for someone who's not very interested in what I like to do, seeing kids make messes and seeing the process instead of just praising their end results, then I can see how certain things would fly for certain people. But for me, I know that the process is where the beauty is. The process is where we do the praising and complimenting what they do and how they did it instead of the end result. So yeah, I mean, I guess it varies, according to different people's homes as well. So it's different when you come home to what seems like a mess as opposed to you're sitting here and you're watching the process. So that's something that I'm still working on as well. Now, when it comes to business, I would say the business was the first thing that took the back road for me. Because I'm like, I need to prioritize my home first. I need to prioritize my, the needs of my family. And I can't be everywhere and do everything. And so with business, of course, being a solopreneur, just me running the pages, doing the customer service, the emails, thinking of products, trying to photograph products, trying to update my website, all of that stuff, accounting, keeping up with things I need to buy, inventory, getting rid of inventory. Like, all of that is a lot. And let me come back because my baby is crying. So, okay, false alarm. He was just crying a little bit in sleep, but he still sleeps. So, yeah, business was the first thing that took, that was deprioritized, if that's a word, because I wanted to be my best self. And if you know anything about being an entrepreneur, it can be a very lonely process because people around you don't understand the work that you have to put in to make your business appear, up and running. It's a lot of background work. It's a lot of thinking. It's not necessarily shut off time as opposed to going to someone else's job. And you work a set hours, you can come home and do whatever you want to do. With the entrepreneur, with being an entrepreneur, especially a mom entrepreneur, there's really not a cutoff time unless you just prioritize that. And being that I have a baby and then a 5 and a 3-year-old, it's like, okay, I need to do a little bit of this here, a little bit of this there, a little bit of that there. And when they go to sleep, I kind of need to finish what I need to finish. And I'm like, you know what, I need to make sure home is good first, because yeah, I just need to make sure home is good. My children just learning, they're being challenged. And then once I find my groove, I can get back to doing this business stuff because I put so much work into it for years. Yeah, now my baby is 6 months. I want to say next month we're gonna go back into it, but as opposed to just doing it with the newborn baby, y'all, I just like, I can't risk my sanity, and I don't need any type of stress, any type of headache. So for right now, we're just gonna do the bare minimum, okay? And I'm still gonna post every now and then, like, things I have and the products and services that I offer. But in terms of me just doing the most, like, no, not doing the most. But all in all, y'all, I would say the key to managing and finding balance is knowing your strengths and asking help or asking for advice. So say for instance, I know that coming up with activities, keeping my kids engaged and things like that comes natural to me. So that's one of my strengths. So I don't have to worry about anything about, kid behavior, what they want to do, what I can put together for them, what I need to buy, because that's something I do. I just do. In terms of me, getting a routine on keeping the house clean and stuff like that, like room to room, I would say that sometimes you just want to do things yourself without interruptions. And sometimes when I do get interruptions, it's kind of overwhelming to me. Like, say for instance, I want to deep clean, but I also want to allow them to help me clean. Like, I'm still trying to find my groove on how to do that. But yeah, that's that.